Hey everyone, welcome to Write With Us. I'm Micah Crowdy, the head of writing at Arc Studio and Butterdocs. Arc Studio, of course, is the app for writing your script, and Butterdocs is for writing everything else, like maybe you're writing a novel. Before we get into it, I want to know where you are, what you're writing today. Get in the chat, let me know. And then I also want to know what's your writing goal over the holiday break. So where are you? What are you writing today? Like usual. But what's your writing goal over the holiday break? Because we are going to be off the next 2 weeks. It's Christmas in a week, and then it's New Year's Day, I think, the week after that. So we'll be back on January 8th. But that's a lot of time for you to do some writing. So I want to know what you're going to do on your own. Maybe the goal starts today and it carries through, but like when we come back on January 8th, like what do you want to have accomplished in that interim? I think it's good to kind of set that intention, especially if you do get some time off, in the next couple of weeks, if you have a holiday break as well. So get in the chat and let me know. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe and turn notifications on. And if this is your first time, welcome to Write With Us. I'm so happy that you're here. This is mostly a place for writing. We're going to do 3 writing sprints. We're going to start with a 15-minute sprint. Then we'll do a 25-minute sprint. And then finally, we'll do a 20 to 30-minute sprint. We'll see how much time we have at the end, how much kind of chatting we do. Because in between the sprints, we're going to talk about writing. So if you have any screenwriting questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And I'll get into them in the breaks. It's really fun to I always like to think that if you have a question, there's probably other people who are wondering that same thing too. So feel free to get in the chat with your questions, and we will talk about them later. And then, of course, during the second break, I'm going to show the sandwich of the week. Got a beautiful photo for y'all to share, which I'm excited about. If you're wondering what the sandwich of the week is, it's exactly what it sounds like. But to answer these 3 questions myself, I'm in Los Angeles, California, and it's sunny. It's actually I'm in a t-shirt right now because it's actually very warm, unseasonably warm, which is always a little disappointing. We need some rain. But what am I doing today? I'm working on a pilot script. I got some notes on it, so I'm making some tweaks to it here and there. Kind of working on a little bit of the intro and the kind of the ending, just a little bit. And then some other small changes in between. And my writing goal over the holiday break, one is to finish this rewrite, which should be easy because I'm just doing a little bit of work on it. It's not even a full rewrite. It's just some tweaks. So my big goal is that I have this other script I've been working on, a feature, and I kind of just hit a wall with it. It's still, I believe in it. I think it's a good script, but I just kind of had to step away from it for a bit, which sometimes happens. You have to put it in a drawer. So the goal over the break is to get that script out of the drawer and basically just get back into it and really in the rhythm with it. So those are my goals. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. Love seeing people here. Rosie and Cabo working on your web series, Social Security. Fantastic. The handle says it all right there. Tara in LA. I know, 80 degrees. It's just it's you want to enjoy it because it's warm, but then it's just not. I don't know. It just feels strange. Hoping to have a solid final outline, ready to get in a first draft. Fantastic. Welcome, Ryan with an E. Barry from Warsaw. Man, I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome, Barry. Planning to finish the last few scenes of my feature first draft. Awesome. Cash in Texas, working on my submission for the contest on the forum. My goal is probably just to give it a rest. If anything strikes me, I'll put it down, but I don't plan to do any big work. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a break can be a break. But what Cash is referring to here is this, basically. So on the community forum in Arc Studio, which you access on the desk in Arc Studio, on the left-hand side, there's a thing that says community, and you click on it and you go to this forum. And people have been kind of asking about doing this some sort of scene writing challenge. So if you are looking for something to do today or over the break, this is something you can do. Basically, the way that this scene writing challenge is going to work is I've given a prompt here. A character comes home to find their front door open. They hear something inside. And the idea is to, hold on, sorry, I got to hide this so I can be shown. You just write a 3-page scene, and you can kind of interpret it any way you want. This scene could be a comedy, a horror, a thriller. And so, yeah, you write a 3-page scene and then reply to this thread or this topic here. You just hit reply in the forum. Attach the scene as a PDF. And there are some rules here. It's just keep it at 3-page max. Don't be explicit, things like that. Yeah, and then you can just like the posts of the ones you like, and it should be fun. And so this is, we're going to say Friday, January 3rd is when this will close. So it'll be in the forum. You can find it if you like hit topics or in general. And again, to get to the forum in Arc Studio, you just click on community on the desk. So yeah, check that out if you're interested in doing a little scene writing challenge. Yeah, low pressure. Maybe we'll have prizes. This one's just kind of for fun, but maybe we'll do prizes in the future. Jared started a short comedy news article over this morning. I'm halfway through the escalation chaos and have to write the climax. Fantastic. Michaela from Slovakia writing thesis today. Need to finish draft chapter by Friday. All right. Well, good luck with that. And Ryan in Maryland's writing a short for a TV show idea. Great. Barbara from LA, happy to be here working on a third rewrite. Awesome. Sid, visiting family in New York, chipping away at a horror feature, working on the first draft from a detailed outline. Great. Annie, welcome back from Toronto, working full on your script, dialogue with a little help from your treatment document. The goal is to finish the first draft by the end of the month. Great. First draft by the end of the month, which is also the end of the year. So I feel like that's a good goal to like finish a draft by the year. And then you can check that off on your 2024 accomplishments. Des from Germany via the UK, trying to finish the first draft of a short today. Awesome. I feel like a lot of names I don't recognize. I feel like we got some new people here, like Kelly from Kansas by way of Santa Monica and San Francisco, like bouncing around there. Back to the first draft of the feature. Kim in Nashville, rewriting your outline, some scenes. Excited about having a chat tomorrow with the screenwriter who'll give me feedback. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. I mean, one, obviously, just a couple thoughts on that. Be open to feedback, which is great. It sounds like you are, which is awesome because you're excited about it. But also, like, have some questions, I feel like, for them, like things you're working about. Like, I always feel like in feedback, it's great to just get people's just like unvarnished opinion, kind of let them go. But then also just kind of like, what are you wondering about kind of in it? And like, feel free to ask them questions as well, I guess, is what it's saying. It doesn't have to be just one way. And Juno, welcome back from Massachusetts. And your goal is to finally finish the first draft of an episode that's been taking me ages to get through. Great. Good luck. Welcome back from South Dakota. We got one of our two South Dakotans here. Maybe the other South Dakotan is here as well. Amy in Portland, Oregon, weaving in notes from friends and family review for a screenplay. Awesome. Fantastic. Good goal here of catching up on sleep, which is like, again, like you need rest. Like, I know like writing sprints and things like this, like write with me kind of things are always like, get the word count. Let's go. Let's push it. But like, you got to also have rest. That's very important as well. Jillian getting back at the first draft psychological thriller feature. Charles in Denver. Man, a lot of people here today. Feels good. I feel like we're getting a lot of running done. After splitting screenplay apart, focused on part one over the next few weeks. Awesome. And Neffy from Seaside, California, 1 hour away from where a tornado landed in Scotts Valley, surprising everyone. Whoa, we don't get a lot of tornadoes in California. Finished nonfiction writing class, spending holiday time sorting handwritten notebooks. I used to have a little, before I had a smartphone, I had like a tiny little notebook that I just kept in my back pocket, and I had a pen. And so I would just like write down my ideas, and like, they're still in a box somewhere, but they would get, like they're shaped to my butt because like I'd sit on them all the time, and they like get bent and sort of like messed up a little bit. But like I loved having those. That was like an age that I look back to fondly of like my notebooks of ideas. Great. All right, cool. David, first time watching from, wait, is that North Dakota? Because we had some South Dakotans here. David, if North Dakota, where in North Dakota are you from? Because I have family, not anymore, but I had family from Bismarck. My parents grew up there. Goal this December is writing one short story every day this month. Halfway there. Oh, that's fun. That's a fun challenge. Yeah, and so that's kind of another reminder before we get into it that for the people who are writing like short stories and novels, and awesome, David is in Bismarck. How cold is it in Bismarck? Because it's 80 like degrees in LA right now. That's what I know. It's got to be cold. But this is reminding me, because a couple of people are writing books and stuff, that we're starting a new show. Because like Write With Us, it's presented by Arc Studio and Butterdocs, which Arc Studio is a screenwriting software, and Butterdocs is a prose writing. It's like for writing novels and stuff. But like the focus really has been on screenwriting. We mostly talk about screenwriting, and I always feel like the people who are writing fiction, writing short stories or novels, they get a little bit of the short end of the stick. So again, I mentioned this last week. In January, we're starting a new show called Let's Write Books, which is going to be for fiction writers for book writing. So I'm very excited. The time is probably gonna be like Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific, I think, for that one. I sent out a survey, and that was kind of, I mean, the times are all over the place. You can't find something that works for everyone, but I think mid January or mid to early January, we're going to start that. So that's great. Paula from Nova, welcome back. Oh, it's going to be cold there this weekend. Yeah, it's crazy. Juno loves the notebooks as well. Yeah, I mean, I also like love to just sometimes switch it up, even in screenwriting. Like if I just need to like free write, occasionally I get like, I have these just like yellow legal pads just kind of like scattered around, and I love just to like free write on them. It seems to, I don't know, come from a different part of the brain. And it's also like there's no internet in a legal pad. So like it's easier to not get distracted if you're struggling with that at what time. And it feels like 1 degree, at least it's above 0. That's what I would say to that in North Dakota. All right, guys, this is exciting. We're going to get into it now and do the first writing sprint, which is the 15-minute writing sprint. And that's why I'm slowing my voice down, because the 15-minute writing sprint, the music is very chill. And I like to think of this as the warm-up sprint. We can use this to sort of find our groove a little bit, but also just kind of like get into that headspace, figure out where you were in your writing, maybe read back through kind of like what you were doing before, and just kind of like find that place, and then just get a little work done generally. And then I feel like in the next writing sprints, you're kind of like warmed up. It's like this is like the stretch warm up, and then we kind of like the game starts. If you're into sports, like kind of in the next sprint. So, all right, I'm going to get this banner off and start the 15-minute writing sprint, and then we'll come back. And again, if you have any questions now, any writing questions, screenwriting questions, ask them in the chat. If anything pop up during the writing sprint, get it in the chat and we can talk about it in the next break. But we're here to write, so I think that we are gonna do that. So here we go, 15-minute writing sprint. Let's do it. All right, and that brings us to the very peaceful end of the first writing sprint, the spa experience writing sprint. How'd that go for you? Let me know in the chat. Are the muses with us today? Is the writing flowing? Are the ideas flowing, or is it going to be a tough one? For everyone who joined us in that sprint, welcome. This is Write With Us. That was our first writing sprint. We're going to take a little break here. We're going to do a couple more writing sprints. But yeah, let me know how it went in the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the chat as well. Any screenwriting questions? So Ryan here has a good question here. This is about formatting. Does the left margin really have to be 1.5 inches while everything else is 1 inch? I'm using Google Docs for my scripts and the page looks funny. All right, so I think there's a few different ways to answer this question. The first is to say, like, what are you going to do with the script? If it's something that you are planning on sending to people in the industry, as or submitting to festivals, competitions, or anything like that, anything kind of official that you're going to want to do with it, like it needs to look professional. If you're just writing it for yourself, or you're going to make it yourself or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just for as long as you understand it, that's fine. But if you're planning on like submitting it to things, sending it to things, then it does need to have proper screenplay formatting. And I would say this is sponsored by Arc Studio. I would recommend using Arc Studio. I have to do a little plug here because that's who's putting this on. Arc Studio though is really great screenwriting software. You can do a free trial. There's like a free version of it also. And we're going to be like doing sales. Like we're going to do a New Year sale soon too. And there's like a Christmas kind of deal going on where you can give a gift subscription and you could give one to yourself. But yeah, I would recommend if you actually plan on trying to do things with the scripts that you should use proper screenwriting software. And I would recommend Arc Studio. But of course I'm biased, but that's what I'm writing in right now, like right there. And I recommend it. And another question from Ryan. How do you write camera shots into a script? This is interesting. I was actually just thinking about this the other day. So there's something basically called like an implied camera shot or like almost implicit camera shot, which is basically like anything you write in the script, it will be assumed that that's what the camera is pointing at, right? Like you don't have to say, the camera shows a house on a street. You can just say there's a house on a street, something like it's just whatever you say. If you say like someone's eye twitches, like it's kind of assumed that's going to be a close up because that's how you'd see it. So anything you write, you just sort of think of the eye of the person visualizing it. So you don't have to actually, there are occasions where you can say like, we slowly zoom in or we like pan down, there are a few things if the movement itself is part of it, but like in general, you just need to like write kind of what the eye sees. And then it's just implied that that's what the camera is going to show. So that's mostly what you need to do. And Cash here appreciates the free version of Arc Studio. Yeah, a little shout out right there. Kelly, loving it. Here, haven't written since moved to Kansas a month ago, and this was the kick I needed to get back into it. Awesome. Glad that the writing sprint is going well. Anyone else want to share their experiences with the first sprint? Please get in the chat and let me know. For me, it was going pretty well. I'm like I mentioned, I'm kind of working on this like intro, and I'm just kind of trying to like think about like how I want to approach it. It's like a little bit of a montage thing. And there's a lot of different ways of doing a montage, and it kind of depends on like what do you want the audience to like get out of it? So that's kind of what I'm focusing on in some way. Yeah. Hey, Lily made it. Awesome. Great. So now we have 2 South Dakotans and a North Dakotan. I'm just going to mention the Dakotas as much as possible because, as I mentioned before, my family's from North Dakota. So I have a soft spot for the Dakotas in my heart. Sid, do you have any specific advice to a script you are planning to also direct yourself? In some way, that's the easiest because it's just basically like put everything you need to know. Like you don't really have to follow any rules. It's just like whatever helps you do it, So like you can be way more detailed than perhaps you'd want, if it's just for you. Again, but also depends like what that means. Direct yourself. Like if you're just directing it yourself and you're paying for it yourself, then you can do whatever you want. if you are still trying to like get investors or sell it or anything like that, then you still kind of want it to be an attractive script. So it kind of depends a little bit on like what you're doing, but like what is helpful for you? Like, what do you need? And you know, what do your actors need to know? So, but oftentimes you'll find like, if you read script from like a read a script from like a writer director online, you'll see oftentimes that there's like a lot, they can be denser kind of, there can be like more writing in there because they're sort of like writing for themselves. Is there supposed to be a director script for every film, TV series, or just a general script would suffice? Like in terms of what you're doing, you don't really need to worry about that. Just like write the best script that you can. And like, if it gets to the point where like there needs to be differences or something down the line, then like that'll kind of take care of itself. So just like really try to tell the best story in the most engaging way that you can. Awesome, Tara. If you want to pitch a pilot with a writing partner and both want to pitch a solo project, is it best to be repped as a team individually with the same rep or separate reps so they could also coordinate meetings for your joint project? I mean, it doesn't, it just kind of depends on like the circumstances that you're in. I don't think there's like a strategic way to like do that. Like it's sort of, if the person you're pitching with has a different rep, then that's the reality of the situation you're in. I'm not sure how like strategic you can be about that. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you just kind of want everyone on board and excited about it, right? Like, I think that's the most important thing, is just to like have everyone sort of like rowing in the same direction here. Awesome. Lily, the tea was drinking. It was wonderful during the first session. How was the writing during the first session? Was that bitter or was the tea the only good thing here? Ooh, I would love some tips about writing montages. Maybe we'll talk about that in the next break a little bit, because montages can be tricky. Honestly, you know what my favorite advice for writing montages is? Anything that's formatting is just like Googling examples of it. Like, just think like of movies that have montages that you love, and then just like Google for examples, script examples. Do like whatever script, like movie or TV show script PDF, and then just like find the montage and see how they do it. The trick I would also say is that like you kind of want to keep them as brief as possible, because montages are supposed to move quickly. But like, honestly, like reading scripts is great. Like the way you learn script formatting and everything is just reading scripts. It's just seeing like how other people do it. And that's, I mean, I still do that. Every writer I know still like is like, wait, how do I write this? And we'll like Google and like try to figure it out. Because it's just like, maybe it's just like a thing. You're writing in a way that you haven't before. So it's, yeah, Googling, honestly, just like examples of montages is the best way to do it here. So it's cool. You're crowdfunding it. That's exciting. So you're sending the script to a few people, but hoping to be larger contributors. I think I'd have the freedom direct from the page a bit. Awesome. Cool, guys. All right. I love it. I love this vibe here. Lily, you're supposed to be writing. This isn't drink tea with us. Although that sounds delightful, doesn't it? Just like a communal tea drinking, which I guess is what like tea is supposed to be, right? In England, is like a communal experience. But on that note of we're supposed to be writing, we're going to get into the 25-minute writing sprint right now. If you have anything else, oh, great. Just Google. All right. So the way to find scripts is, it's a formula of the movie or TV show name, script, PDF. Just Google that, like The Office script PDF, Gladiator script PDF, whatever. And some you'll find and some you won't, but like you'll find a lot. And there's websites like ScriptSlug and I think Google TV writing. There's like different websites out there that have them. But if you just if you Google, you'll be able to find it. A lot of stuff is out there. Trying to figure out how to write a scene, but I can't figure it out. Well, maybe if you have a specific question, I can help maybe a little bit, but sometimes just write a bad version of it and then revise it later. Literally just like get something down and then change it, because it's always better to have something, even if it's bad, than have nothing, I would say. So just do that. All right, y'all. But now we're actually going to do it, the 25-minute writing sprint. If you have any more questions, feel free to get them in the chat, and we can talk about them during the next break. But let's do it. Let's get some writing done. 25 minutes on the clock. Here we go. All right, and that takes us to the end of the 25-minute writing sprint. How was that? Did the muses arrive? Did they abandon you? Let me know. Get in the chat how the writing is going so far. That was good for me. I was working on another section of my script and kind of found a way into something. It's always good to just like look at your characters, always be thinking about like where's their headspace at, what do they want right now, what are they feeling right now, what are they afraid of right now, and like if you can do that, you're just setting yourself up for some success. Aaliyah's late, but here. Welcome, Aaliyah. Brittany's here a little late, but for the first time joining. Wow, I'm so glad you're here. Hope you get some great writing done and have a good time and come back. Not next week because we're off for the next 2 weeks, but we will be back on January 8th. So we're off for the holidays the next 2 weeks, but then we will be back. All right, a couple of questions here that we can get into. Annie asks, do procedurals have a longer storyline connecting all episodes and maybe some main characters? So it really depends on the procedural. Some do and some don't. So like the classic procedural, like Law and Order, there's not really like bigger storylines. Everything is just one story. It starts, it ends, and the next episode is like a completely new story. But then there are a lot of shows that are more like hybrids, where you'll have kind of some ongoing story, but also kind of a case of the week. So like a lot of law shows, like, so you think of like Suits, right, which was really popular, and I think it's like big on Netflix still. There's like a case they're dealing with that week, but then there's the ongoing dramas of like who's in charge of the firm and, Mike's secret and all those kind of things. So the heart of a procedural is always going to be the structure of the case of the week, right? Like the story that's introduced, there's complications, and it's resolved at the end. But then in some shows, there will be a little bit of an ongoing story. But like the ongoing story is always going to be like a small part of it. So again, it depends on the kind of show you want to write. I feel like these days, a lot of shows have a little bit more of the ongoing thing, but not necessarily. So it really depends on what you want to write. All right. So this is a deep question. Is it okay? Ryan was asking if I use Grammarly AI to help in my scripts. I once used to improve my writing on a short and make it better, but it didn't not feel like it was my writing. I felt guilty for using it. So this is a really tricky question. And it's one that like isn't going away. I don't think. I mean, there are a lot of writers who will use AI in their writing process, but that is mostly like in the sort of research and development phase. I will say what you described here. The most telling thing in that sentence is that I did not feel like it was my writing. If it doesn't feel like it's your writing, then kind of what's the point of writing? I mean, I feel, obviously we all want to like sell things and make money off of this and have career, but first and foremost, this is personal expression. Like we're developing our own voices. And if you're using that and it's kind of rewriting it, then that's not your voice anymore. And it goes into the question of what better makes. It says it made it better, but like your biggest asset is your unique voice, right? Because if you're saying like it made it better because it sounded more professional or whatever, like you're not going to break in that way. Like you kind of have to have something unique to offer. You have to have your own voice, your own style, your own way of approaching things, your own way of telling stories. And that's kind of on you. And if it's something else doing that, it's going to be like smoothing the edges off of it a little bit. So yeah, I would say, be careful with that because again, it's that it did not feel like it was my writing. Like you're there, we're writing. Writing is a very personal thing. It's an expression of who we are. And I would not cede that to some other thing. Right. I think that is something that is very precious to us and to me personally, and to all of us as writers. So I would be very careful about that and like giving control of that over to something else in the hope of it being better, because I don't think better always necessarily means what you think it does. So that's what I would say about that. And I heartily agree with Paula and welcoming all the new folks. I love how like, especially recently, it feels like we've been having a lot of new people every week, and that makes me so happy. Sid, having a good writing day. 3.5 script pages in that. Very rough, made some progress. Fantastic. Love it. Another good good sprint, but my mind jumped to an idea for a different part of the script. That's okay. Just sometimes remember, like, I think it can be helpful to keep our brain, like in our writing brain and our editing brain. So like, as long as you're keeping progress and you have this idea and you're like going back and you're still like working, that's cool. But I think sometimes it's like, it becomes an issue if you're struggling moving forward, right? If you keep finding yourself jumping to something else and you can't like deal with the thing, then I think at that point it becomes an avoidance tactic. But that's just something you just to watch out for yourself. I'm not saying that that's what's happening here. I'm just saying that just popped into my mind. Like it's something that happens sometimes when I'm struggling with something. Suddenly I just work on everything else. So that could be something to keep in mind. Denise, moving right along. Fantastic. Jillian, drafted a scene, cathartic scene I was looking forward to for writing a while. Great sprint. I love that. Oh my gosh. I love the scenes you're looking forward to and you get there and it's like just it flows and it's so fun. Jillian, that makes me happy. I'm awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Lily, good sprint. Got a lot of rain done. Fantastic. Diamond, that was fast. Went well, filling all the holes in the story. Holes in the story alluded themselves. Yeah, I feel like that the fact that if a sprint goes fast, that's like the best indicator of success. That you just like the writing was going well. Is that it's just like the time flies. Let's see here. Tara, do you know of any in-person or LA or writers groups that are open to adding news or Zoom or putting one together? So I did this last year. We actually sent out a survey to our studio users and I got like 2 writers groups. It's just very hard because like, I mean, one thing I will say is that we do have the community forum. If you want to like try to connect with people, I'm trying to get more people to use the community forum. So I feel like it's a great resource. But again, it can be difficult. So like, a year ago through our studio, I like emailed out the list and I think I got like 1 successful writers group that's still going to this day. I may try to do that again at some point. And if so, you'll get an announcement email from that. But I found that kind of trying to, from the outside, create writers groups was very difficult because just like you're trying to match people and their personalities and their writing levels and like what they're into. And it's hard. Sometimes it has to happen a little bit organically. But I may try that again. Ryan, how do you write title cards to your script? I'm writing something like Umbrella Academy title cards. Again, find some Umbrella Academy scripts and just see how they do it. That's the best way for doing this here. Yeah. Okay. Will this be available YouTube after I'm in the UK? So it's a little late here. Yeah, no, it's on the these are on the whatever the link you're watching it on YouTube right now, it'll be there still at that same URL. Like they stay there on YouTube. So yeah, it'll there. Cash, finished first idea or finished our idea draft. Sorry, now adding a detail. Fantastic here. Sid has some thoughts about AI here. An LLM guesses how about words would go based on every other word in a sentence is read by nature. It'll make it more predictable because it's being written by predictive text, which is helpful if you're writing a grammar error, but not helpful for artistry. I agree. I think that's a really, really good point, Sid. All right. Also, I promised it's the second break, right? So I'm going to show the sandwich of the week. This is the sandwich of the week. The ciabatta is back. We got a ciabatta. This beautiful here. The sun on this cutting board, which I actually made that wooden cutting board, by the way. I'm proud of that. I didn't make the frame or anything else. This is a fake frame. I don't know whose hands those are. Those are someone from Canva. But this was a beautiful ciabatta sandwich. Sun-dried tomatoes, greens, turkey, pickle, I think on this. Yeah, lettuce, tomato, avocado, all of that. But just like, I mean, the bread steals the show, right? Like if we're looking at that and like the light hitting the bread, it's just like fantastic. I've also started putting a little olive oil on my sandwiches, which I wasn't doing before, but like having that kind of just like helps connect the flavors together. So that is, fun developments in the world of my sandwich making is olive oil, especially like a nice olive oil. So there we go. Sandwich, exactly. Getting pumped, Lily. A sand switch of perspective. With the wordplay here. A+ for the ciabatta, A++ for artistic light beam and framing choice. Thank you. Love the lighting. No, not yet, Tar. You have to wait. We have to finish the sprint. This is why I wait until the second break. If I do it too early, then people, leave. I used to start with it. Healthy olive oil is good. Yeah, olive oil is fantastic. I use olive oil like for everything, basically. Aw, thank you. Yeah, the sandwich of the week. It's great. I'm glad this one I was happy. Also, like normally I cut the I'm just gonna go off on sandwiches for like the next half hour. Like normally I cut the sandwiches in half, and then take a photo, but this one is just like it's just like this perfect shape that I loved it right there. Here. Oh, here we go. Diamond and LA totally open for starting an in-person group. They've been really helpful for me. Y'all can connect in the community forum. If you start a post, community.arcstudiopro.com, or just like on the desk in Arc Studio, click on community and you can go in there and do it. I would recommend that. It's probably the easiest way because unless you want to like share your, Instagram or whatever on the chat. But I would love if there was like more like, Write With Us writers groups. That would make me very happy. Because I want y'all to be writing, and getting feedback from each other. Because it's fun for me to answer your questions, but like I can't give you the feedback personalized on your scripts. That is very helpful in the writing process. So yeah, for writers groups, I would love for y'all to connect with each other in doing that. I'll start another channel about sandwiches. Yeah, it could be a live stream of just like me making sandwiches and talking about sandwiches. I would love that. Okay. All right. Before we get into the last writing sprint, I will say again, we're off for the next 2 weeks. So Christmas, I think it's Christmas Day in a week, and then New Year's Day, we're off. And then we will be back and on January 8th. And Thea, welcome, just in time for the last sprint. So yeah, and then in January, we're starting a new show for fiction writers called Let's Write Books. And I'm going to be starting writing a novel like from scratch. And so that one will be a little different. I think the Let's Write Books is going to be a little more like communal in a sense, or I don't know about communal, but like I'll probably be like talking more about what I'm doing and like showing how I'm doing it in Butterdocs and like sharing my actual screen of what I'm writing more. Like it's hard for me to do that in Arc Studio with my scripts because like I've been working on these a long time and trying to pitch them. But like I think for Let's Write Books, I'm actually going to be like showing how I'm doing it a little bit more. And so that could be pretty fun. So yeah, I think Let's Write Books. So I sent out a schedule to Butterdocs people. And there's a big survey. And I mean, obviously the times are spread out, but I think it's going to be Mondays at 10 a.m. So tentative start date, January 13th. That's what I'm aiming for, but we'll see if it actually gets launched by then, but probably Mondays at 10 a.m. will be it. And then weirdly in that survey, I was surprised a lot of people chose Friday nights as like a time that worked for them. Like Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific. And I can't do that every week because like that's my Friday night. But I think occasionally I want to do combined Arc Studio Butterdocs things. So like to have like Let's Write Scripts, which this might become Let's Write Scripts, and then Let's Write Books as separate things, and then occasionally do joint Friday night things called like Friday Night Write. And like, I don't know, I might have an adult beverage as I am of age for those. And like, that could be just like a fun kind of occasional thing for people if they want to do. And Barbara is excited about the novel writing sessions. Yes, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So yeah, last sprint. Oh, I kind of talked a lot. So I think we're going to do 20 minutes here. I'm going to adjust this timer slightly. Yeah, let's do this sprint. If you have to leave, by the way, also, people like coming late and leaving early. Totally fine. This is like, use this time as you will. Obviously everyone's schedules are different, so there's no worries. Please come whenever, leave when you got to go. If you have to leave during this next sprint, please let me know how it went. Say farewell in the chat. And I really hope you have like wonderful holidays. And I'm excited to see y'all back on January 8th. And for those of you who stay around for the whole time, then I will say our final farewells at the end. But again, if you have to go, no worries. Thank you so much for coming. For the new people, let me know how it went. I hope you had a good time. I hope you got some good writing done. And I hope you get some writing done in this last sprint, because this is what we're going to do. One more sprint, a little more writing. So buckle down, get focused, and really take advantage of this time, because you set this time aside for writing. You deserve it. So let's do it. 20 minutes on the clock. Let's write. That's it. That brings us to the end of the final writing sprint of the session and the year. Oh my goodness. To 2024. Thank you so much for being here, guys. This has been so much fun this year. I mean, we're going to do it again next year. But just looking back at it, this has been one of the best things that I've started doing in 2024. And I'm glad that you all have been here and you're getting some writing done and we're talking about writing and you guys are connecting and stuff. It's just fantastic. So please, again, just as a reminder, we're off the next 2 weeks because it's Christmas and New Year's. And then we're going to be back on January 8th in the new year with just like new energy and excitement and perseverance and ideas. And yeah, anyways, 2025 is going to be a great year. So happy holidays, everyone. Take care of yourselves and happy writing. See you next year.